conference battle between the Western Carolina Catamounts and the Mercer Bears. And hi, everybody, along with Dean Keener, Pete Hannity with you. So we are at the end of January. Got a couple of teams tonight who are under 500 in the league, but looking to build some momentum going into February. And of late, Mercer especially has looked like the team that had such lofty preseason expectations.
You're right. Look, we're just 4.5 weeks to the Southern Conference tournament. Hard to believe, but as February approaches, you want to be playing your best basketball. Mercer looks to be that team, as you said, that was predicted 4th in the preseason in league standings. They've got a little bit of momentum. They want to keep it here at home tonight.
Interesting comparison tonight. Mercer is the very best in the Southern Conference at defending in terms of field goal percentage defense. Western Carolina, they've had a struggle this year. In one area they're not very good in is scoring. They're worst in field goal percentage offense.
Western Carolina really has struggled at the offensive end. But you know, tonight it's a matter of who does best what they do best. You can't worry about all the stats right now as you enter February. You've got to continue to play hard and do what you do well. And for Mercer, they've got to try to engage this crowd here at Hawkins Arena where they're really good. For Western Carolina, they've got to build on a little momentum of their own that they garnered on Saturday in the win against Wofford.
And if nothing else, these two teams should be familiar with one another. They played about a week and a half ago in Cullowhee when Western Carolina saw Mercer on its court jump out to a 20-point lead at the half and go on to a 20-point victory. Let's give you our starting lineups. They're presented by Sports Clips. For Western Carolina, Devin Peterson coming off one of the better games he has had, and really the best in his career. He came against the Citadel in a win earlier in the year, but he had 16 points on Saturday night in their win against Wofford. He's a guy to keep an eye on for Western. Meanwhile, for Mercer, you look around this lineup and you see several weapons, but none bigger than Rion Holland, who's 3rd in the SoCon in scoring at better than 17 points a game.
Well, there's without a doubt right now, he's the newcomer of the year in the Southern Conference. I mean, he's an all-league performer. Came out like gangbusters right away back in November and has really continued to be one of the leading scorers in the league throughout.
Desmond Ringer to jump center for Mercer. Adam Sled, the freshman center for Western Carolina, a team relying heavily on first and second-year players, and as a result, that's part of their struggles. They're starting to learn things, though, under Larry Hunter, their veteran head coach, and their win the other night, their second in SoCon play, was really their best all-around performance of the year. Ringer inside, and I wouldn't be stunned if we see that quite a bit out of the 4th-year junior from just up the road in McDonough, Georgia tonight, as they'll try to work inside against Western. Peterson stopping and popping. Gosselin on the rebound. Peterson this time a little further back, and things remain cold from outside for the Catamounts. Holland loves to drive from the left side, and they'll count it with the foul. I thought that had no chance of going in as he changed hands on his way up. Bob Hoffman was imploring his team to have some energy. There's Pugsley getting in the air again, but finding Mutombo, that worked out great. Near disaster, but give the assist to Elijah Pugsley.
No, yes. Boy, nice finish with the left hand by the right-handed Mutombo also in there. And
from long range, and there is Steger showing you what he can do, the 6'5 freshman from just outside of Columbus, Ohio, our first lead change of the evening. Sled with Ringers defending. Righty hook, and he gets the bounce, and back in front go the Catamounts by a couple.
I'm Steger. I'm trying to free myself somehow right now, get behind the line of that first line of defense in that zone.
Rhodes with the find for Sled, who put it on the floor, and that maybe cost him a chance to make that bucket.
Yeah, a little bit of a freshman move right there, even though he's played in 20-some games here this season. Just panicked a little bit.
Strawberry out high. Kilby, who's one of the better shooters. And Strawberry, and he'll nail the first made three of the game for the Mercer Bears, and Strawberry having a good year beyond the arc at 47%. And that missed that time by Peterson from outside of the arc. Makes him 1 out of 10 on threes. Rivers, meanwhile, he was 7 out of 10 from the field against the Citadel in a 23-point game on Saturday, and he just made his first basket of any kind here this evening for 3 points. I think Larry Hunter is going to call a timeout to break momentum as he sees his team fall behind by double figures for the first time tonight. Strawberry, and another three for Jordan Strawberry, the junior out of Santa Ana, California. Fischler inside the putback for the 7-1 senior. Take a look at the final numbers in our ball game tonight. And again, at halftime, it was a one-point game. Mercer led 23-22. So the second half stats really add them into the total stats, and they tell the big story. Take a look at the final numbers in our ball game tonight. And again, at halftime, it was a one-point game. Mercer led 23-22. So the second half stats really add them into the total stats, and they tell the big story.
Well, you see Western Carolina shooting 17 of 51 for 33%. What you don't see there is just 7 of 27 for 26% in the second half. Mercer tightened up that defense, stayed with that zone, and did a really nice job. And then Mercer also expanded the margin on the boards, and they came up with 6 key offensive rebounds where they were able to get some second chance opportunities. Nice job across the board for Mercer in the second 20 minutes of play.
And you figure, just watching Jordan Strawberry, he's a 47% three-point shooter. He probably doesn't shoot as many as Holland does, obviously. And he's, I don't believe, even second on the team in three-point attempts. But what a weapon he has been this year. He said he wanted to lead the league in assists this season. Well, he's done pretty well. He's third in the conference in that category. But, again, as one of the top 3 scorers in this team, I don't think even Bob Hoffman expected that Jordan Strawberry, and this is junior season, would be a double-figure scorer.
No, you're right. And I don't know that they felt like he needed to be, but with Jelks not quite having the scoring output that he's had from years past, somebody's had to step up. Well, Holland stepped into the role for Justin Lewis, but Jordan Strawberry's been the guy that really has put points on the board that were unexpected but much needed.
Western Carolina, a tough assignment upcoming on Thursday night. They're in Birmingham against Samford, and a huge test at home for the Mercer Bears on Thursday. They will get one of the teams currently sitting atop the SoCon, the Furman Paladins.